Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nanette Nocon and thanks for joining us. Recently, we've seen an explosion of news reports on the financial scandals within corporate America, and business ethics has been in question. Is this the exception, or can corporate America no longer be trusted? Today, our guest is the National President of the Society of Financial Service Professionals. This is Alan Ziegler, and we are very fortunate to have you with us. Thank you for joining us, Alan.
Thank you for having me, Nanette.
What is the Society? Tell us about that. Okay.
The Society is an organization of credentialed professionals who focus their practice in the financial services arena. And it encompasses people who have designations, professional designations, such as attorneys, CPAs, chartered financial consultants, certified financial planners, certified employee benefit specialists, chartered life underwriters, the people who have impact in financial planning and financial services for their clients. The uniqueness of the organization is that it's inclusive. We include in our membership people from all these varied disciplines, so that the impact is that professionals with a different background, different view, different focus are able to come together to talk about common problems, such as financial planning or employee benefit matters or estate planning matters.
Excellent. So more than one mind can really work magic in this
And that,
situation.
of course, as you well know, Nanette, is in the same venue as financial planning, which we all view as a team event. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, how does the consumer benefit from having an advisor who is involved in a professional organization such as the Society?
Well, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit in answering that, Nanette, and say that in my view, we have spent too much time focusing on designations. There's been sort of a designation war out there. My designation is better than your designation. And I would suggest that the designation is the starting point. None of us, I don't think, would go to see someone who has an MD who didn't do an internship and a residency. None of us would go to an attorney who has an LLB who didn't pass the bar exam. None of us would go to a CPA who didn't have some experience. So the designation, in my view, is the start of your professional career. Where you really get impacted and gain wisdom and become valuable to your clients is through the joining of a professional organization like ours, which emphasizes continuing education, ethical behavior, and I think perhaps most important, relationships. Back to that inclusive group where you're able to go to meetings, whether they be audio conferences or video conferences or webcasts or our National Financial Forum, which will be in wonderful Hawaii this year, by the way. And you can commune with these folks from different disciplines with different backgrounds and different focuses on common problems.
That's great, and that benefits the consumer who then utilizes the services of these different professionals.
Sure, because the consumer is looking for, in my judgment, wisdom. Wisdom is the capital of today, and everyone wants someone who has wisdom. We don't need any more information. As you know, there's just reams of information available through the internet, magazines, print, TV. Every place you turn, there's information. But most people, as you can vouch in your own practice, need someone to help them interpret that. Okay, I have all this information, what do I do with it? How do I apply it to my own situation? That requires wisdom. Wisdom is experiential education. And for those who are new in the field, how do you get that experience? Well, one of the ways you get it is by borrowing it from others who have more experience, the sort of mentoring relationship. That's what happens at our Society gatherings, as I say, whether they be strictly education, audio conferences, video conferences, chapter meetings, national forums, institutes. It's that exchange of information, it's that relationship building which creates the wisdom that, of course, ends up impacting clients.
Excellent. Now, we talked briefly about designation in the industry of financial planning. There are a number of designations out there. We have certified financial planners. What are the other designations? CFP?
Well, CFP in the pure financial planning world, and by the way, I'll miss some because it seems there's a new one every day.
So yes, that's right.
But in our society, the ones that we accept are CFP, Certified Financial Planner, CLU, Chartered Life Underwriter, CHFC, Chartered Financial Consultant, attorneys, CPAs, Certified Employee Benefit Specialists, CEBS, Registered Employee Benefit Consultants, REBC. There are 2 master's degrees, a Master's of Science in Financial Services and a Master of Science in Management. And I've counted 9, and there are 11, so I'm sorry.
That's quite
I'm
right.
missing a couple.
So if your advisor is 1 or 2 or some of these designations, that's excellent because they've gone through the training and
they've gone through the training. But again, I would emphasize, in my judgment, the most important step is the next step. Have I committed myself professionally by belonging to an organization that requires me to maintain continuing education, high ethical standards, and offers me the opportunity for that relationship, that wisdom gaining through the experience of others?
That's great. Now, within New York State, there's a requirement to secure credits to maintain one's licenses to practice insurance in the state of New York. How does the society provide a venue for that requirement?
Well, that would be if we go back to that sort of three-legged stool I described, the continuing education, ethics, and relationships, this would be the continuing education piece. The Society produces continuing education programs in a wide variety of styles. We have audio conferences. We have between 2 and 3 a month on a variety of topics. We have video conferences. We have 4 of those a year, now delivered on DVD, so local chapters can use them at any time they want and also give them to individual members. We have the National Forum, which I mentioned. We have institutes. There are about 4 of those a year on specialized topics. Last November we had one in St. Louis on annuities, for example. And there are webcasts, which is one of our newest product delivery systems, where we'll take a particular topic, maybe split dollar life insurance or some kind of group insurance plan, and we'll have an expert speak in a webcast format, which means you can download it on your PC, you can see the speaker and their handout and ancillary material all in one presentation.
Oh, excellent.
So it's a wonderful delivery system. And of course now, so many of us are used to getting it when we want it, as opposed to when the organization wants it. So the webcast is a perfect venue for that because you can look at it at your leisure.
That's excellent. So from a client's perspective, an advisor who's engaged in professional organizations can actually secure the on-time information that they need to best help the client out.
Exactly.
And you actually bring out an excellent point. Many clients who interview advisors often ask about their designations, but sometimes they fail to ask, how do you keep up with the changes that go on?
I think you're absolutely right. I think the designation has gotten too much play and has taken away from the professionalism that comes from dedicating yourself on a continuing basis to.
Sure, absolutely. And thank you for describing that, because it's the Society of Financial Service Professionals and St. John Fisher College is presenting this award that we want to talk about today, and that's the Business Ethics Award. Why is it important to recognize corporations who are deemed ethical in the light of what's happening in society today?
Well, my opinion in that is that the business ethics scandal that has rocked the country for the last couple of years has done enormous damage to our whole business system. Most commentators would suggest it's one of the reasons for the stock market poor performance, because investors are on the sidelines saying, I can't trust you. I'm not sure what the results are. Is this an honest annual report? Are you really doing what you say you're doing? So I think it's had a huge impact, and I think we clearly in this country need to rebuild that trust that we used to have in our business institutions. Business institutions were one of our most revered institutions at one point, and they're probably near the bottom of the scale right now. And that's unfortunate because, as you know, most institutions in this country are good businesses, do run ethical practices. So the Society's dedication to this Business Ethics Award is an opportunity to really promote that and to let the world know how good companies behave and what an impact they have.
Yes, and actually you're right, news always focus on the negative things, and I think these types of awards or recognition help us highlight and see that there are a lot of other companies, the majority of companies are doing good things for their employees and their clients as well. What is this award about? I mean, we're talking about the business ethics. There's a national level and then there's a local award. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, there is a national award, but it is, in almost all cases, the entrants for the national award have fed up through our chapter system. The Society operates with chapters around the country. You had mentioned earlier the Rochester chapter. There are over 200 such chapters. And those local chapters, many of them produce a local ethics award event. The winners of their event get fed up to the national, where there is a new set of judges and a new panel who then picks one in each of 3 categories for the national award. And I think we have a video that will describe the national award, which might be a good way to give some background, and then we can talk a little bit about how Rochester is going to implement it locally.
You will be watching a video here on the National Business Ethics Award that has been recognizing companies who are ethical since 1994. So we'll share this with you to get an idea of what it's about.
Society of Financial Service Professionals proudly presents the American Business Ethics Award. And to tell you about the ABEA program, here is Clark McCleary.
The Society, which was founded in 1928, is the standard bearer of excellence in professionalism, advanced continuing education, and ethical guidance for the top financial advisors in the nation. Our members are bound by a strong code of ethics that places the interest of their clients above their own. Unfortunately, in today's competitive business arena, business ethics have frequently become one of the casualties. There's no question that maintaining a focus on ethics can be a challenge in a fast-paced and profit-oriented environment. But we at the Society believe that ethics and profitability are not mutually exclusive, and that being a good corporate citizen is good business, regardless of the business climate, in spite of the increased competition, and despite the financial burden that may accompany the decision to do the right thing. In that spirit, the Society established the American Business Ethics Award Program in 1994 to recognize and honor those companies that share our beliefs and core values.
The ABEA program recognizes companies that exemplify high standards of ethical behavior in their everyday business conduct and in response to specific crises or challenges. The nominees for the ABEA are judged by a distinguished independent panel of judges with representation from business, academia, public service, media, consulting, and the ethics community. The judging criteria are stringent, and the result is an award that is as coveted as it is difficult to attain.
My dad would not see the irony, but rather the logic that business would find its role in society heightened by fast change and technology and information, and that we should find in something as basic and as old as ethical values the solution to what laws and regulations really cannot do. My own personal training in the field of ethics throughout my whole career has taught me that ethics is not really a question of right versus wrong, but is often more a question of right versus right.
We're in a people business. It takes people to serve the residents. It takes people to maintain the properties. We try and treat our residents the way we would want to be treated. It's the golden rule. In fact, we treat our subsidized low and moderate income residents the same as we do our conventional residents. And in fact, we believe we're rendering a service to the community because we're providing housing and service to low and moderate income residents that they would not enjoy if it were not for our management operation. And I frankly believe that service is the only rent we pay for the space we occupy on this planet.
When I was a little boy, my dad liked to repeat these lines. And when that one great scorer comes to write against your name, he writes not what you won or lost, but how you played the game. That when the history of our company is written, it will be said by everyone that we always played to win, but that our play was always honorable.
We have an ethics office that provides training to our employees. As a matter of fact, in 1999, virtually all of our employees attended a half-day workshop. Also, we have a 24-hour-a-day helpline available for employees when they have questions of an ethical nature. In addition, we have sent out a code of conduct to our employees, which provides clarification on our policies and provides sample questions and answers that they can use in trying to identify the correct answer. The message is we want to be there to help our employees. We think we're accomplishing that effort, and we're going to continue to be there for them.
When I talk to our people in the company about ethics, one of the things that I like to stress is that this is not a flavor of the month type of initiative. We've all been familiar with those kinds of situations, but ethical business conduct is really something quite different. It's not a one-stop deal. It's, as the saying goes, it's a journey. It's not a destination. And I really do believe that we now have the mechanisms in place to keep us moving forward on that journey.
So this is not something you do because it's a best practice. It's something you do because you believe that your business or your family or your environment requires a reaffirmation of doing what is right rather than what is legally required.
St. Augustine once said, "In doing what we ought, we deserve no praise because it is our duty, but it sure feels good."
I'd like to congratulate the recipients of the American Business Ethics Award and thank them for being standard bearers in business ethics. I'd also like to thank the companies and individuals who have contributed to the success of the ABEA program, and invite everyone who's interested in supporting and promoting business ethics to participate in this important awards program.
All right. Alan, this is the first time that we're talking about this recognition in the Rochester area. What was the impetus of this initiative here?
I think it's sort of a fortuitous confluence of events, Nanette. This year happens to be the 75th anniversary of the Society of Financial Service Professionals, our Diamond Jubilee. It happens to be the 70th anniversary of the Rochester chapter, clearly one of the oldest chapters in our organization. And it happens to be the year of my presidency.
Yes.
We have never been fortunate enough to have a president from Rochester, New York, so it's a special honor for me and seemed like a perfect time to pull this all together and initiate a local Business Ethics Award. And Upstate has been a major player in the Business Ethics Award. I'm not sure how many of our viewers caught the names quickly, but I'll just remind you that there have been 3 Upstate winners of the Business Ethics Award.
Okay.
In 1996, Rich Products Corporation from Buffalo won the medium-size award nationally. In 1998, Fenimore Asset Management from Cooperstown, New York won the Small Company Award. And in 2000, Niagara Mohawk in Syracuse won the Big Company Award. So we've been very well represented, and I guess Rochester would like to kind of get their piece of the action.
Yeah.
We certainly think we have plenty of ethical companies in this community, so we're excited about it.
I agree, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And actually, it's not just one type of business, it's really the whole, I mean, any business that deliver ethical practices.
There is, I guess, perhaps 2 exceptions that we ought to mention. One is businesses in the financial services industry, because of the potential conflict between them being an award winner and being a sponsor, because we hope to have financial support from the financial services community. And the second entity is nonprofits are not eligible for the award.
I see. So we're looking at corporate America.
Corporate America.
Okay.
And in Rochester, we'll have only 2 awards, by the way. We'll have a company with 250 or more employees, and then a second category of companies with less than 250.
I see. So individuals, who can nominate, actually, companies?
Anybody.
Anybody can nominate.
And we'd love to have nominations. It seems to me that one of the great ways to trumpet the terrific business atmosphere we have in Rochester, New York, and our region is to be flooded with nominees. Mm-hmm. So anybody can nominate a company. It's a very simple process. You merely give us a bit of information and we'll tell you where you can get those applications. And then our organization will send out an entry packet to that company. Now the entry packet is considerably more thorough. It's a very complete look at that company's ethics program. But the nomination process is simple, and we'd love to, as I say, just be flooded with nominations.
Yeah, and you're right, there's so many companies. And as we discussed earlier in the program, you know, we've been dogged by all this bad news that have been popping up all through the nation, but there are so many excellent companies in our area and different businesses. It could be from construction to food processing to computer. I mean,
Absolutely.
There's just so many different.
And I must say that, as you do, I'm sure I read the business news fairly carefully. And since we went down this path, I have been cutting out articles from the newspaper about companies, many of whom I've never heard of, that speak to some ethical practice or some particularly good business practice that they've done, thinking these will be good candidates. And I plan to nominate them. They'll be strangers to me, but they sound like companies that ought to have their story told.
So that's great. So if someone spots an article or some sort, even if they don't know the company personally,
Absolutely.
It's something they would submit the nomination
That's
based
correct.
on what they had heard or read about.
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent. You're right. I mean, sometimes people don't have that connection, but how do they make that nomination? It's excellent. So when making the award, how does an individual go about doing so? Who do they contact? And
well, the easiest contact, I think, is to contact our administrative services organization, the Rivers organization, and their phone number is 383-1060. And if you call them, they would be happy to send you a nomination form. So anybody who wants a nomination form can call 383-1060, the Rivers organization, who is the administrative arm of the local chapter of the Society of Financial Service Professionals, and they will send you out an entry form.
Okay, entry form and a brochure of.
And a brochure. And then from that point, once the entry form comes back into the Rivers organization, we will send out the entry package. Sorry, I said the entry form. Once the nomination form comes back, we will send out an entry package.
Excellent. Okay. What are the different criterias that we want to be using? I mean, there are lots of.
Well, I'm going to just go through the entry form briefly, Nanette. As I said, it is fairly onerous, but I think I can give you a flavor of what the issues are. First of all, there will be a panel of judges, and our panel of judges is going to be chaired by Supreme Court Justice Francis Affronti, who is a St. John Fisher alumnus. You mentioned earlier that this is a joint project between our society chapter in Rochester and St. John Fisher College. In fact, at our awards luncheon, which will be in September 23rd, Catherine Keogh, the president of St. John Fisher, will be our keynote speaker.
Excellent.
So we're excited about that. Judge Affronti, Carl Carbolata from M&T Bank is going to be one of our judges. Jose Coronas, special assistant to the president of the University of Rochester, is going to be a judge. And Charlie Constantino, who's another Fisher alum and a local businessman, will be a judge. And we have one fifth person that we've invited but haven't heard from. So there'll be 5 judges. The criteria are, there will be 5 tabs in the package. The first tab is the executive commitment to business ethics, and we'll ask for things like a letter from the CEO, explanation of any litigation that they've been involved in, other examples of executive commitment to ethics. There will be a company ethics program tab where we'll ask for a description about the company's ethics program. So it's not just we're good guys, it's we really have made a commitment. We have a program that we use. How does their code or credo, what's unique about it? The third tab will be conflict resolution procedures. You saw in the video briefly someone talking about conflict resolution. What is your procedure for that? That will be asked about. The fourth tab is a demonstration of sound business ethical practices, so examples of what they've done. And the fifth tab is demonstration of good corporate citizenship. So just less ethical, but just how are we a good citizen? Sure. And then some culture questionnaires. And it's a fairly, as I say, it's a very thorough application process so that when we do get winners and complete entries, we have people that have really demonstrated they really do have a sincere commitment to ethics.
Sure, and actually having a credo and some sort of guidelines, it's just one thing to think it through, but if your employees know about it and they act on it, it really demonstrates that the company believes in.
Yeah, and I've been, as you perhaps have, privileged to be at some of the national award ceremonies, and the continuing theme through all of them, as the president of Niagara Mohawk said, this is not a destination, this is a journey. It is done every single day. We remind our employees about ethical behavior, ethical conduct. How do they solve dilemmas? It's continuous. And that's, of course, what produces good ethical behavior.
Sure.
That kind of focus.
Absolutely. The expectation that this is what we want our employees to do and how we deliver services to our customers. That's great. Now, you've mentioned that anybody can make a nomination for the award, so they just have to simply contact the local office, and we've posted the phone number on the screen, and then it's up to the organization nominated to provide the documents that are necessary.
Correct. And part of our relationship with St. John Fisher is we expect to have some help from their business students in this process. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to assist companies in putting together that package if they need it. Sure. We recognize that a large company may well have an ethics department, but small businesses just don't have that kind of staff dedicated to just that issue. So we do plan to be able to provide some help with that.
No, that's fantastic. So companies that are maybe a 1 or 2 person operation may not have all the departments could handle this. However, they can still be nominated. Absolutely. If that is how they live and do their, conduct their business. That's great. It's great that there's a lot of different pockets of people helping out to make this happen.
Well, and I think that's appropriate because, of course, we're all touched by business every day, and we all know when we've been treated well and when we've been treated poorly. We know when we've seen good ethics and we know when we've seen bad ethics. And it's a wonderful opportunity for someone who perhaps a wonderful experience at their local hardware store to nominate that organization.
Sure, absolutely.
And to trumpet the fact that This is an organization that practiced good ethical behavior when I was involved with them. And again, from that national judging, I can tell you that as you can imagine, the attitude of companies who've been nominated is terrific. That itself may be worth the program, because their attitude is, wow, I didn't know anybody noticed. And of course, that's exactly what we want. We want people to notice, and we want people to understand that they're being noticed.
Sure, and they're doing it because that's the way they want to do business,
Exactly.
not to be noticed and get publicity
That's
over
right.
it. And
That's
maybe
right.
they didn't hold those values to begin with as deeply as possible anyway. So then when people see articles like that, like you've been cutting out, and they could attach that to their nomination form, and that's one way to sort of a testimony for that company and
Exactly.
what they have done.
Exactly.
So excellent. So you just have to scout out those firms and look for them and make the nominations. Now, in terms of timing, nominations are accepted through April? Is that-
Not sure I can answer you.
Oh,
on
actually,
that.
April
I think
4th, I
it's mid-April.
Okay, mid-April.
Maybe April 20th or so.
Okay, so nomination, and then we're looking at this as a national event, so it's not just this year, but ongoing.
Oh yeah, we hope to have it ongoing.
An ongoing
absolutely.
event, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
And then there's an award in September.
In September.
That will be
yeah.
made,
And then
so-
those winners will roll up to the national judging process, which will be named a year from June.
I see. Okay.
The national award winners will be presented at our national meeting, the Financial Service Forum, which, as I mentioned, this year is in Hawaii in October, but is always in the fall. The following year, I think we're in Tampa, but in the October timeframe.
I see. Excellent. This is really great. And so our viewers, if you've been watching our program, we've talked about the Society of Financial Service Professionals and also the Rochester Business Ethics Award, which will be given out for the first time in year 2003. So if you've had any experience at all working with small businesses or large businesses for that matter, do contact the Society at the local number posted on your screen and make your nomination. Ellen Ziegler, National President of the Society of Financial Service Professionals, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on doing an excellent job with the organization.
My privilege to be here.
Thank you. And our viewers, if you have any questions or comments, please email me at nnocon@aol.com. Until next time, I'm Nanette Nocon.